If we dial the clock back to the mid-1990s, the motorcycle landscape in the United States was undergoing a seismic cultural shift. The cruiser market was exploding, driven by a powerful wave of nostalgia and a booming economy. The primary mecca for this movement was Milwaukee, and the gospel was the V-twin engine. Harley-Davidson had successfully risen from the ashes of the AMF years, selling not just machinery, but a visceral lifestyle that made nearly every Japanese manufacturer feel compelled to imitate it. Yamaha, Kawasaki, and Suzuki were locked in an arms race to build metric cruisers that mimicked the look, feel, and even the syncopated potato-potato exhaust note of the American icon. In this sea of chrome-laden imitators, Honda decided to swim violently against the current. Instead of forcing themselves to build another copycat V-twin to appease the market, the manufacturer with the wing logo looked into their own warehouse in Marysville, Ohio, and saw hidden potential in the heart of their flagship touring machine, the Gold Wing GL 1500. The idea to create a massive cruiser that defied the established V-twin standard was born from the vision of a maverick engineer at Honda R&D, America's based in Torrance, California, named Joseph Boyd. Affectionately known as GL Joe due to his fanatical love for the Goldwing platform, Boyd believed that Honda did not need to be Harley-Davidson to succeed. He argued that Honda possessed a far superior engineering heritage, the horizontally opposed flat-six engine. Boyd's vision was audacious in its simplicity, yet complex in its execution. He wanted to strip down the Goldwing, which was widely perceived as a polite, plastic-clad touring barge for older riders, and transform it into a street hot rod that unabashedly displayed its mechanical muscles to the world. To understand the machine, one must understand the man. Joe Boyd was not just a corporate engineer. He was a true enthusiast who saw what others missed. While the marketing departments were screaming for V-twins to compete with the Road King and the Softail, Boyd saw a gap in the market for a power cruiser, a bike that offered the relaxed ergonomics of a cruiser, but the earth-shattering performance of a muscle car. He had to fight hard battles within Honda's conservative corporate structure. The project was viewed with skepticism. A six-cylinder engine was heavy, wide, and expensive to produce compared to a simple V-twin. However, Boyd used his considerable charisma and political capital to push the project through, convincing the brass that American riders respected torque and engineering dominance above all else. Boyd's philosophy was that the engine shouldn't just be the power source. It should be the jewel of the motorcycle. Unlike the Goldwing, where the engine was hidden behind fairings and side covers, Boyd wanted the flat six to be the visual centerpiece. This required a complete rethinking of the chassis and aesthetics, ensuring that the massive cylinder banks became the primary focal point of the design. He envisioned a motorcycle that looked like an engine with wheels attached, a philosophy that would define the Valkyrie's imposing silhouette. The biggest challenge Boyd and his team faced was altering the fundamental character of the Goldwing engine. The standard GL 1500mm was an engineering marvel of its time, known for being incredibly smooth, whisper-quiet, and possessing a flat, electric motor-like torque curve. These were perfect traits for a luxury tourer, but they were ill-suited for a motorcycle meant to exude a raw, macho sensation. To give the Valkyrie its soul, the Honda team executed some radical and specific technical overhauls that went far beyond a simple engine swap. The most fundamental difference between the Goldwing engine and the one eventually grafted onto the Valkyrie lay in the valve train. The Goldwing utilized hydraulic valve lifters. These were excellent for touring because they were self-adjusting, maintenance-free, and dead silent. However, they were also lazy at high RPMs and contributed to the engine's docile nature. Honda decided to ditch that sophisticated system for the Valkyrie, replacing it with conventional solid lifters using screw and lock nut adjusters. This step back to a mechanical system was intentional. Solid lifters allowed the engine to rev higher and faster without the risk of valve flow, providing a sharper, more aggressive throttle response. Furthermore, they produced a precise mechanical ticking sound, a sewing machine rhythm that connected the rider to the machine's internal combustion heart in a way the Goldwing never did. The modifications didn't stop at the valve train. The fuel delivery system also underwent major surgery to increase the engine's breathing capabilities. While the Goldwing used just 2 large carburetors to feed 6 cylinders through a long serpentine manifold, Honda fitted the Valkyrie with 6 individual 28mm carburetors, 1 for each cylinder. This was pure hot rod engineering. It ensured that fuel delivery was instantaneous, eliminating the lag inherent in long intake runners, combined with a more aggressive camshaft profile designed to boost mid-range punch and a specially designed exhaust system, which, although visually appearing as 2 mufflers, internally featured separate paths for each cylinder, effectively 6 into 6, to create a unique hot rod howl. These changes completely transformed the bike's personality. The result was a power surge reaching 100 horsepower and roughly 100 pound-feet of torque, available right off idle. But the numbers only told half the story. The sound it produced became legendary. It wasn't the syncopated, loping thump of a V-twin. It was a smooth yet intimidating howl. At full throttle, the Valkyrie didn't sound like a motorcycle. It sounded like an air-cooled Porsche 911 or a World War II fighter plane performing a low-altitude strafing run. This unique aural signature became one of the bike's most defining characteristics, setting it apart in a parking lot full of V-twins. When launched in 1996 as a 1997 model, the bike was christened the Honda Valkyrie, coded F6C or Flat 6 Custom in markets outside the US. It instantly became a beloved anomaly. Its performance far outstripped other cruisers of the era. With a dry weight of around 660 pounds, the Valkyrie could sprint from a standstill to 60 miles per hour in the mid 3-second range, a figure that could embarrass many sport bikes at a stoplight. Despite its size, the Flat 6 engine kept the center of gravity incredibly low, making the bike surprisingly nimble in the corners. The engine was so smooth that owners often performed the nickel test, balancing a nickel on the engine block while it was running. The coin wouldn't fall due to the absolute lack of vibration. The nickname the Dragon began to stick to this machine, popularized by the early enthusiast website The Valkyrie's Lair, referencing its massive size, beastly power, and ability to fly low along the highway. During the lifespan of its first generation, Honda expanded the Valkyrie into a family with 3 main variants, each catering to a different type of rider. The first and purest was the standard model, GL's 1500C. This was the embodiment of Joe Boyd's original vision, a naked bike without a windshield or saddlebags, letting the chrome-plated 6-cylinder block be the star of the show. It was a muscle bike in the truest sense, a canvas for riders who wanted raw performance and win-in-the-face freedom. The second variant was the Valkyrie Tourer, GL 1500 CT, aimed at riders who wanted to cover more ground. It came equipped from the factory with a large windshield and lockable, hard, color-matched saddlebags. These weren't just bolt-on leather bags. They were sleek aerodynamic pods that integrated perfectly with the bike's lines, offering decent storage and wind protection without sacrificing the rugged aura of the machine. However, the most significant evolution occurred in 1999 with the birth of the Honda Valkyrie Interstate, GL 1500 CF. This variant arrived to answer the standard model's only fatal flaw, range. Because the standard Valkyrie was thirsty, often returning fuel economy in the low 30s miles per gallon, and only had a 5.3-gallon tank, riders were forced to stop frequently for gas. The Interstate addressed this by fitting a massive 6.9-gallon fuel tank, the largest in its class at the time. Furthermore, the Interstate was equipped with a large fork-mounted fairing, complete with dual headlights, radiator pods designed to manage airflow, and house-optional fog lights, and a rear trunk with a passenger backrest and AM/FM radio. The Interstate is often regarded as one of the best touring motorcycles Honda ever built, combining the all-day comfort of a Goldwing with a relaxed cruiser riding position, and that intoxicating hot rod engine character. Behind the Valkyrie's technical success lies a tragic narrative that altered the course of its history. The father of the Valkyrie, Joe Boyd, died tragically in May 1998 in an accident while testing a pre-production Honda CBR 600 F4 at Willow Springs Raceway in California. He was riding with another evaluator, Dirk Vandenberg, who also perished. Joe Boyd's passing was not just a devastating loss for his family and friends, but a crushing blow to the continuity of the Valkyrie project within Honda. Although GL Joe was gone, the engineering momentum he started didn't stop immediately. Following the end of the 1500 Valkyrie production in 2003, Honda, through its American R&D division, began experimenting with a series of radical concept bikes to determine the future shape of the power cruiser. This period represented a golden age of Honda design, where budget constraints seemed to evaporate in favor of pure creativity. Thus, the Honda Valkyrie Rune, NRX 1800, was born in 2003 as a 2004 model. The Rune was an anomaly, a rolling work of art built upon the fifth-generation Goldwing's 1,832 cubic centimeter fuel-injected engine, manufactured at the Marysville, Ohio plant, the same birthplace as the first-generation Valkyrie. It solidified its status as a made-in-America motorcycle by a Japanese manufacturer. Technically, the Rune was beautiful madness. It utilized the complex trailing link front suspension from the concept, a single-sided swing arm, and an exhaust system created using a lost wax casting technique. This casting method is usually reserved for jewelry or high-precision aerospace components, not mass-produced motorcycle exhaust pipes. But it was the only way to achieve the complex, seamless curves the designers demanded. After the Rune's brief tenure ended in 2005, the Valkyrie name lay dormant for nearly a decade. It wasn't until 2013 that Honda finally decided to resurrect the Dragon, launching the second-generation Valkyrie F6C as a 2014 model. Based on the modern GL 1800 Goldwing, this new machine took a completely different aesthetic direction. Unlike the classic chrome-heavy vibe of the first generation, or the Art Deco elegance of the Rune, the 2014 Valkyrie took a darker, more aggressive muscle cruiser approach. The engineers put the Goldwing on a severe diet. The weight was slashed drastically, about 150 pounds lighter than a standard Goldwing, thanks to an aluminum twin-spar frame and the removal of all touring accessories. This generation ditched much of the chrome for sharp, angular plastic body panels and LED lighting, offering a look often described as a mix between a Goldwing and a Transformer. On paper, the 2014 Valkyrie F6C was a superior machine. It featured ABS brakes, much sharper handling due to the aluminum chassis and modern radial tires, and a redesigned cooling system with side-mounted radiators to channel heat away from the rider. Now, nearly 30 years since its birth, the first-generation Honda Valkyrie holds a special place in two-wheeled history. It stands as proof of Honda's courage to step out of its comfort zone and refuse to bow to a homogeneous market trend. At a time when the world was obsessed with V-twins, Honda proved that a flat six could be the perfect heart for a street cruiser. The legacy of the Marysville plant and Joe Boyd's vision lives on in every Valkyrie still roaming the asphalt.